Welcome to Secret of Public Speaking. My name is Joseph Jacob. Today, we are looking at how we can arm ourselves with knowledge in order to engage effectively in public speaking. Knowledge, they say, is power. And there are few fields of human endeavor where knowledge can make someone very powerful than public speaking. When you have the knowledge, you'll be able to address your audience very well. You'll be able to answer their questions effectively. You'll be able to engage meaningfully in audience discussion. So knowledge is very, very important. In our last video, I emphasized that being knowledgeable is very, very important in public speaking. When someone is only familiar with his field of study or profession, that person is said to be ignorant. Let me give you a typical example of what happened during the 2000 African Cup of Nations co-hosted by Nigeria and Ghana. A group of young men were watching one of the matches in a restaurant. And as they were discussing and analyzing, trying to forecast the nation that will win the tournament, a young man who made first class in his first degree said he wanted to say something. As someone that commands a lot of respect, everyone kept quiet and started listening to him. He said, "If you think that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will win this World Cup, you are wasting your time because Argentina is going to win this World Cup." Everyone burst into laughter. Some laughed to the extent that their hands were fidgeting. They could not hold their bottle of drink again. Others laughed until tears rolled down their cheeks. The young man was very, very embarrassed. Now, what is the problem with his comment? The first one is that he said that the African Cup of Nations is a World Cup. There is a difference between the African Cup of Nations and a World Cup. World Cup means the tournament is open to every nation that qualified across the globe. But Africa Cup of Nations, with the name, it shows you it's only meant for African countries. So rather than say the Africa Cup of Nations, he said the World Cup, which means he doesn't know the difference between the Africa Cup of Nations and the World Cup. The second blunder he made was that he said that Argentina will emerge champions. In which continent is Argentina? Argentina is a South American country. Other South American countries are countries like Brazil, Uruguay, Chile, Paraguay. But this young man was saying that a South American country that is not eligible to participate in the African Cup of Nations will now emerge champions. You see why knowledge is very, very important. An Irish playwright, George Bernard Shaw, said, "Beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance." He made first class in his university degree, but he did not know the difference between the AFCON, that is African Cup of Nations, and the World Cup. He didn't even know the continent Argentina belongs to. Now, you see the danger of not having knowledge. Some might argue if the young man had kept his mouth shut, that he wouldn't have been embarrassed. That is true. Is keeping quiet the ultimate solution? What if he had gone for a job interview and he was asked about the African Cup of Nations? What will he say? Now, you see why it is important we build our knowledge. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States of America, once said, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today." So evading the responsibility of communicating or engaging in discussion with his friends today will not make him escape the responsibility tomorrow if he goes for a job interview and they ask him questions on African Cup of Nations. So not saying something because you don't know anything to say is not the ultimate solution to the problem. The best solution to the problem is to build your knowledge. Now, how do you expand your knowledge? How do you build your knowledge? Bearing in mind that we are living in a hectic world. We are living in a world where everyone is extremely busy. From your work to home, from home to other activities, you don't have time, leisure time to relax, not to talk of expanding your knowledge. Well, you can still expand your knowledge despite the busy schedule you have. The first thing we can do to expand our knowledge is to follow the news. In a world where events are changing from time to time, it's important you follow the news. By following the news, you'll be able to keep tab with everything that is happening across the globe. Whether you choose to listen to radio or watch the news on TV, read newspapers or magazines or newsletters, or even follow the news through the internet, it is very, very important that you follow the news. A minister or secretary of state might be sacked after just performing an official assignment. If you are not aware, you will be referring to the wrong person as the current minister or secretary of state, while in true fact, the person is no longer serving. An election might take place, and the person you know as the president or chancellor or prime minister of a country will be removed and changed by some other person. But because you are not following the news, you will keep referring to the former person as the president, chancellor, or the prime minister. So following the news is very, very important. It will help you to keep tabs with current affairs. So when you speak, you will be current in whatever you are saying. But the challenge is, most people don't have time to sit down and watch television news channels. They don't have time to pick up newspapers and start reading. How will they follow the news? I will recommend radio. Why? Because radio is something that will help you to be doing other things you are doing while you're just listening. Whether you are traveling or you are engaging in home chores, you can still put on your radio and follow the news. It's very, very good now that most cell phones do have radio service. So you can listen to your local radio to get in touch with the latest happenings around you. But listening to radio is one thing. It's another thing to listen to the right program. When I say the right program, I'm not trying to say that there are some programs on radio that are not good. All the programs on radio are good because they are meant for different segments of people in the society. But the point is, if you want to acquire knowledge for the sake of public speaking, you need to listen to those programs that will give you knowledge. Such programs are news programs, news bulletins. You need to listen to news. You need to listen to discussion shows where issues like politics, agriculture, finance, economy, and the rest of them are discussed. When you listen to such programs, you will be expanding your knowledge. The second thing you can do to expand your knowledge is to become a voracious reader. You need to read, read, and read. William Godwin, an English journalist, political philosopher, and novelist, said, "He that loves reading has everything within his reach." Read. Read every wholesome material you come across. When you read, it will help you to expand your knowledge, to know a lot of things you wouldn't have known if you do not read. How will I find time to read, you may ask? Well, you can find time to read if you really want to read. Where and when can you find time to read? When traveling in a bus or a train, you can read for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. If you have an appointment with someone, you might go with a book, bearing in mind that the person might not come exactly at the time of the appointment. In such situations, you can be reading while you are waiting for that person. You'll see that your time is not wasted. You can also make it your goal to read at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes before you go to bed every night, or 5 minutes or 10 minutes whenever you wake up in the morning before you engage in other activities of the day. When you do so, it will help you to acquire knowledge via reading. If reading is not part of your way of life, it's important you develop it. And for you to develop it, you need to take it gradually. Start by reading materials you like. For example, if you're a sports enthusiast, why not start reading sports newspapers, sports magazines? If you like fashion, or if you like cookery, why not start reading materials from those journals? It will help you gradually to start developing interest in reading. And once you start enjoying what you are reading, you will never stop reading again. The third thing we can do to expand our knowledge is to make good use of the internet. Why did I say good use of the internet? The internet is very good. The internet can also be used for wrong purposes. Rick Smolan, a former Time Live and National Geographic photographer, said, "Every time there is a new tool, whether it is internet or cell phones or anything else, all these things can be used for good or evil. Technology is neutral. It depends on how it is used. It depends on what you choose to do with the internet." The internet is a very big research tool that will help you to find out almost everything you want. When you heard about something you've never heard before, why not go to the internet to find out what it really means? When you use the internet effectively, you will still know a lot of things. Most news outlets also have websites. So when you use the internet to follow the news, it will help you effectively. So stop using the internet for only social networking or for downloading music, games, and movies. You can do more than that. Try to enhance your knowledge by using the internet effectively. The last thing I will discuss today we can do to expand our knowledge is to develop our power of reasoning. When we talk about developing our power of reasoning, what are we talking about? We are saying that you need to ask yourself questions. You need to challenge the things you believe. You need to challenge the things you accept as true, because challenging them will help you to know whether they are actually true or not. For example, we have clerics we admire so much. We have politicians we respect. We have businessmen. We have inspirational speakers we admire so much. When these people say things, do we just take what they say, hook, line, and sinker? Or do we take time to ponder whether what they have said is acceptable or not? You see, when you believe things because certain people say them without justifying why you believe them, you will not be able to defend them. You will hold an idea that you will not be able to say specifically, this is why I hold this idea. And that will affect you in discussions because you can't defend what you don't know why you believe it. So that is why you need to develop your powers of reasoning so that you'll be able to compare facts and know what to follow and know what to accept. Don't just accept ideas because everyone is accepting it. Don't just engage in doing things because everybody is doing it. If you do that, you will be lost in the crowd. You will not have your own voice. You will not have your own stand. You will just be following the crowd. For example, in argumentative discussions, it's about what you think is right and wrong. And for you to stand up and say your mind means that you must have reasoned and know why you accept the side you want to belong to. If you have not developed your power of reasoning, you will not be able to do that. When they ask you, okay, why do you say that? Why do you believe what you say? It's because my preacher said so. My cleric said so. It's because that politician said so. That someone said so, does it just make it right? Does it make it the truth? You need to develop your power of reasoning. It's only when you develop your own power of reasoning, you will start developing the skills to support your ideas or to oppose an idea you do not support. And that is when your ability to speak in public will continue to grow and you will have more confidence to defend your stance over issues. John Mason once said, "He who has no opinion of his own, but depends on the opinion of others, is a slave. Today, we've mentioned 4 ways we can expand our knowledge despite having a very hectic schedule. In our next video, we will focus on preparing for our speech. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.